Happy Friday, everybody. Good day. Today, we got an AMD build. Ryzen 7 7800X 3D. We're going to cool that with the AK620 digital motherboard MSI X670E carbon Wi-Fi 4080 Super. 64 gigs of RAM. 6 terabytes of M.2 NVMe storage. Wow, that's a lot of storage, Brad. Somebody's got a large games library. 1000-watt PSU. All going in an O11 Vision. All right, Vision. What was the movie where he's like, my father was a man of vision? Vision and talent. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't
Vision
think I do.
instead of vision. It was like a comedy, and he was whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, anyway. Do my best, Joe Biden. Yeah, anyway. Anyway. All right. Man, 2 terabyte main drive and a 4 terabyte NV2. Wow. That's a lot of games, Brad. A lot of games. Although, you know, they're not getting any smaller.
I know, I'm almost full on my 2 terabyte.
Yeah. The game
That's
files
crazy.
aren't getting any smaller. That's for sure. Good thing storage is reasonably affordable now.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, for what you get. I mean, SATA-based SATA-based SSDs that don't see any application for. If you own a SATA-based SSD, wrong with you, man. Because you can get the same storage volume on an M.2 for basically the same money.
Yep.
And it's five conservatively. If it's a budget Gen 4 M.2 drive, it's like 5 times faster.
Yeah.
That'll be our pro tip of the day for Friday.
I'm getting my first SSD.
SATA-based SSDs. Thumbs down.
I remember at the startup. Man, it was so much faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I remember having like a discrete boot drive, and then like trying to run everything in RAID 0. So it would, RAID volumes are dead unless you're doing like, I mean, with these modern drives, you can do a RAID volume. And the speed difference would probably be measurable on a benchmark. But like, that's another pro tip. Measurable on a benchmark.
Yeah.
And actually a different user experience. Not the same thing. Not the same thing. There's all kinds of stuff that's measurable on a benchmark that's not measurable when you're actually using the machine. I say that as a nerd who loves benchmarking everything. Because, let's face it, been doing that for a hot minute.
Yep.
Love my data, love my benchmarking tools, love being a data nerd. But realistically speaking, measurable on a benchmark and having an actual impact on user experience, 2 different criteria. All right. What's everybody up to? Chat, how are you? What's everybody doing on this fine Friday?
XBev says, let's go. 3 water builds in a row, 3 RMAs later, and we are here. I did film as well. This game. Oh, is this your machine, XBev?
3 water builders.
And then State Orange is Yumby MSI Carbon.
MSI Carbon? Is this Carbon? Yeah. Carbon. Is it? MPG Carbon? What are we doing? What are we doing with this? This is should we change this? Oh, we did change this. It's Carbon. But it says X70E Carbon. Alright. Okay. Yeah, alright. Yeah, this is a banger of a board. Thought we were looking at like an X70E gaming or whatever. No, I'm looking at the Carbon. As I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, those are nice heat sinks for a gaming. Because it's a carbon, dumbass. That's why. All right. Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's an X67. Yeah, X670.
X670E carbon. Carbon is like. This is definitely a premium board. Carbon. I like it. It's chunky.
Yeah.
I like my motherboards thick, Brad. I like my motherboards chunky.
I'm glad that they started integrating like that I/O shield on the motherboards now, because
Yeah.
the other ones are always a pain
I
to get them to fit right.
IO shields. IO shields are not for me. They're just not. Sorry. Friends don't let friends buy PCs with IO shields. IO shields, no. I mean, you can get decent budget boards that have IO shields, but even your decent budget boards, we use one board, I think, in our entire model lineup here that has an IO shield. Everything else is an integrated
Yeah.
IO. Like, partly because I hate IO shields. True story. Really do hate them though. They're just very old.
I always get one of those prongs stuck in like the USB that blocks a USB port.
Yeah. Or if you're like me, no matter how many hundreds or thousands probably at this point of machines you build, there's always the chance that you just build the whole thing and then you get to the end and you realize you forgot to put the shield in. And then you're like, oh, somebody kill me. Somebody kill me, please. That's what I feel like when I forget an IO shield on a build. It's been years though. I've done that. Literally years since I've done that. Mostly because I don't build machines with IO shields anymore. Although I did actually build one last week maybe. And then when Jacob was QCing it, he dinged me for one of the little cabs hanging over a USB slot. And he yelled at me. He correctly yelled at me.
Verbally abuse you.
He verbally abused me for having the IO shield hanging over a USB. True story. Just happened like a week ago. Yelling at me, getting all mad. You know, if anybody should know better, man. Like, what do you call me, old? Fine. Resemble that remark. Resent it too, but I also resemble it. Resent that remark and resemble it. 3 water builds and 3 RMAs later. Well, you didn't get them from us then. Welcome to the home team, where we actually QC things before they ship out.
I did a build for a friend yesterday with an ASRock 790 Taichi Carrera. The board is clean and all white.
Taichi boards are super clean.
They look nice.
I do.
Steel Legend looks great too.
Steel Legend's a good looking board, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a good looking board. Realistically, you get good value for money with ASRock. That you really do. Just, you know, fundamentally, like at my core, I just believe I'm an Asus man. Boards, Sam. Pay a little more. You know, you pay a little more. But as an SI too, where we build thousands of machines, like large scale, I would tell you that fewer problems. And I know it's all the rage in the influencer space right now to rip on Asus too. Some of it deserved, honestly. You know, we're gonna be fair. Some of it deserved. they're not blameless. But I can tell you, in the 20 some odd years and thousands of machines I've built, I have had fewer problems and seen a lower failure rate with Asus than any other brand. That's not anecdotal. That is statistics, ladies and gentlemen. In the chat, that is data.
The Maximus line is right now is top tier.
The Maximus line is, that's what I have. I have a Z790 Hero. Or no, I have a 690 Hero, actually, in mine.
I love those boards.
Because I have my CPU in my machine is a 13900KX. But it was one of those engineering samples that we got. Turns out you really can overclock an engineering sample. Just saying. Just saying, you can OT the engineering samples, Brad. And I'm running my memory at 7200. Yeah. Successfully. Since the minute I put those things in. That was the sample kit we got from Kingston.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that Jake's Kingston. So I have so the only thing I actually bought out of I bought my 4080 and I bought my board, but my CPU was an Intel sample, my memory was a Kingston sample, my storage was a Kingston sample. So I got shout out Kingston.
Kingston.
Which, you know what though, for real talk, I mean, you were working here when we got rid of Samsung drives.
Yep.
We kept having these 980 Pros go sideways.
Yeah.
We didn't know why, but we knew they were going. We're like, oh, we're getting a lot of these drives that are coming back because, drives should like never come back. I mean, the mean time before failure on these drives is like 1 million hours, or with the Kingston ones, I think it's 1.8 million hours mean time to failure or something. So it's like, should be able to beat on these things pretty good and not have them. I mean, we get a handful of drive failures a year out of like thousands and thousands and thousands of machines out there in the wild, and we get a small handful of drive failures in a year. But we were seeing these 980 Pros come back at like, 30 times the expected return rate, and we were like, something's up with these things. So we just got rid of them. Just took them out of the model lineup, started using other stuff. We were looking for a new storage provider because we had gone to Samsung, so we went to Western Digital. And then shortly after we started using Western Digital, they had a big failure at one of their manufacturing facilities, and they lost like exabytes of VNAND flash. And our Western Digital rep called me and was like, bad news. We're not going to have enough product in the channel to support you guys for a while. Because we lost a bunch of stuff during a big manufacturing snafu, and we're only going to have enough product available to support our premier partners. And we were not a premier partner. We're just too small. They were like, you're not a premier partner, because we weren't buying as much stuff as like big companies. So I was like, great, what am I going to do for storage? And then I got linked up with Kingston, and now we literally don't use anything else ever, unless, if a client specifically asks, we will. And we've had, our failure rate with Kingston drives has been significantly less than any other provider we've ever worked with. Like, legit.
Yeah.
So, shout out Kingston, unmatched quality. We'll probably never leave. It's just the way it is. Probably never leave you, Kingston. No reason to with these numbers.
Yeah.
And then, memory too. And then make sure I grab the right bracket for this. I can never remember. It's one of the ones where you have to take the stock brackets off or not.
Yeah.
This one is. But yeah, I don't think we'll ever go away from Kingston.
State Orange says both my PCs have Maximus boards. One Z790 Maximus Hero running at 7200 megatransfer. One 90 Apex Encore running 82,000 megatransfers.
There you go.
Stable.
82 is those Apex boards are made for OCing.
That's insane.
That's the biggest OCs I've ever done have actually been on Apex boards.
Oh really?
Yeah, they only have that. I haven't done an Apex board since Z590, I think. But they usually only have 2 memory slots, and they're made for like extreme overclocking. For a while, like all of the OC records were Apex boards, like for a long time. Yeah, for quite some time, it was really exclusively the domain of Asus, the OCing stuff. But yeah, it's been. You know, it'd be nice if they labeled the bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I gotta look through and like.
Take a little bit of extra time.
Sorry, I'm in no rush, but yeah, for a long time the Apex boards were like all the record holders. And then EVGA had, remember the Kingpin board?
Yeah.
From EVGA? The Kingpin boards were always, like, you know, that's what Greg always used. Greg was always a Kingpin man. Kingpin man, Greg. But, these go. Yeah. M5 HDD slot. Yeah.
They still have a Kingpin board.
They do?
Yeah, that's what Orange says.
No. I have not seen a Kingpin board in years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like in person. I have not laid hands on a Kingpin board, and I can't tell you how long. It's been 3 years, 4 years maybe. I
The
mean, it's been
Z790 Dark Kingpin is what it's called.
Dark Kingpin. That looks cool. I miss EVGA, man.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. They were so like, for 30 series, like 70% of our graphics cards were EVGA.
Yep.
So that was
Oh wow. That's cool.
that was such a huge adjustment for us. Like when EVGA just was like, you know, gone one day.
Yeah.
Basically, as far as the VGA game, to have them be like 70% of the SI channel for graphics cards and then just gone overnight. Like that was interesting. I gotta say, like one of the companies that kind of stepped into the breach though was PNY.
Yeah.
On the gaming side.
Yeah.
People sleep on PNY, dude, because it's not gamery or whatever. But I'm telling you, from the standpoint of like quality product, a lot of gamers sleep on PNY. My 4080 is a PNY.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And I love PNY stuff. PNY was exclusive on the commercial side with NVIDIA for a long time. I mean, you know, the GeForce stuff was always lots of different AIBs, you know, Gigabyte, Asus, MSI, whatever. But on the commercial side of the house, I mean, PNY was the only maker commercial stuff for a long time. The Quadro stuff.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
the Quadro stuff was only PNY. And so everybody, like, people sleep on PNY, but PNY, I don't know if they still are, but if you counted the commercial side in Quadro, they were the largest NVIDIA partner by far on the graphics side. But GeForce was, you know, I mean, we're gamers, no one cares about Quadro. But it's like, you know, that people don't pay a lot of attention to PNY because they're not traditionally a gamer brand or whatever. But
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, they were good stuff.
Been going with MSI for years. They've always been good to me.
MSI is great, man. We had a little snafu with MSI that was related to tariffs a few years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just in terms of like, you know, product availability and stuff like that. And then there were some pricing issues. There were some changes to the tariff rules like during COVID that MSI was probably just like disproportionately impacted by or whatever. But yeah, MSI's rock solid stuff, man. We probably do more MSI boards now than anything else. I think MSI is our biggest volume board now because we do so many B650s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we do. That's our number one. Our number one CPU board combo is 7800X3D with B650 Tomahawk. I guarantee you that's the most common combo that we build now.
Yeah.
And has been for months. It's been months that's been the most common CPU board combo. I guarantee you. I'm not even looking at the data, but I think if we went back and like audited every order,
Yeah.
the most common pairing would be, you know, that. I guarantee it. Like it would have to be. It's tough. We need to tighten those screws, right? I should focus more on what I'm doing than talking, but that just wouldn't be me. But yeah, it's been, I don't know. I like MSI stuff. Certainly nothing wrong with it. I would not. MSI would be my second choice for a board, like for my personal stuff. I'm an Asus guy and have been an Asus guy. I gotta flip those brackets around too. What am I doing today? I'm looking at that going, that's not gonna reach. But yeah, that's the. Anyway, making a mess out of this today. I gotta put these brackets on the other direction because I'm looking at that going, man, that gap's too wide.
XBev says, have you guys had issues with Google?
I mean, other than they're banned from selling their stuff in North America right now. No, I mean, to answer your question, no. Have not had any issues with Deepable stuff. In fact, super sad to see that they got hit. You know, they're relatively new, and I'm somebody that is kind of slow to like give new companies a chance. You know what I mean? Which is ironic because we're a new, smaller company relative to a lot of our peers too. But I'm a stickler for quality control, and you know, I don't know. I'm kind of if I've had a good relationship with a brand for a long time and had good experiences with their stuff, you know, I'll stay with them. So I was, you know, hesitant to look at deep pool stuff at first. Just being honest with you, that I wasn't really planning on doing a lot of stuff with deep pool, but they were coming in at just super competitive price points, and I had been hearing a lot of really really positive things about deep pool from other system builders. And so I talked to Mike from Deep Pool, and I met with them out at CES in Vegas in January, and they sent us some product samples, and I was super impressed with like the price, the performance that we got with Deep Pool, and really enjoyed working with Mike, and the whole crew over at Deep Pool was like super easy to work with, and they did what if they said they were going to do something, they followed through and did it.
Yep.
Which is like huge. Brad can tell you, like,
Yeah.
Brad deals with all the content creators and stuff we work with, and it's like
he was super easy to work with.
But I mean, a lot of people in the sort of content space, or whatever you want to call it, are, not to be Johnny Raincloud or whatever, but a lot of content creators are very flaky and say they're gonna do stuff and then they never do it, and then there's a million excuses as to why it didn't get done and whatever, and then from our perspective as the system builder, there's a lot of people that they want stuff from us, but then it seems like it's always like pulling teeth to try to get them to deliver on their deliverables. There's a lot of flaky people in the content creation space. I didn't mean for that to come off. I wanted to just check that it was seated. But yeah, there's a lot of people that they say they're gonna do something and then they never do it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal, but that's normal even in the brand space. Like, they say, oh, we want to do this project for this trade show with you guys or whatever, and then they want you to send a proposal over, oh, this is what we're gonna build, blah blah blah, and then the project doesn't get funded or whatever. But no, Deep Cool was always super like, if they said they were going to do something, they legit did it. Like,
yep.
So no, we never. So I got that's a very long answer to the original question.
Yeah.
No, the short answer is that I'm super sad that Deep Cool's out of the game.
Yeah.
And we are allowed to. Luckily, when all that went down, we had just bought a bunch of Deep Cool stuff. The downside to that is, at this point, when it's gone, because we have no way to replace it. But the upside is we had a bunch, so we still have some Deep Cool stuff for a while until we sell through it all. But price to performance on it is fantastic, and I'm sad that they're out of the game for the U.S. market, because they were really a company and a brand that was like sort of new and exciting and different to some of the other stuff, people that have been in that space before, and it was a new thing, man, and they were really investing not only in their product but also in like their people and their marketing staff and whatever, and they were always You know, I mean, dude, they were trying to send us like samples of everything,
Yeah.
and you know, we almost had to like, we almost had to like pump the brakes on them because it was like, dude, that's not a product we're ever gonna use. Don't send it to us. You know, and they just wanted us to look at like everything that they had. Um, and that, that's cool because if you're a company that's sending out, you know, stuff like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this, like it really did, show how much that they believed in their own product and stuff. Um, so I am sad to see Be Cool go, really.
Yeah.
On the one hand, like, on the other hand, like, on a corporate level, and this isn't relative to like the people that we've dealt with Be Cool, who have all been awesome. But like on a corporate level, what did you think was gonna happen, dumbass? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? And it sucks because, the reality of that situation is now that, there's really cool people that we worked with that are probably out of jobs and
Yeah.
whatever else, and that's not cool. I miss the deep cool people, man. Really good group of people, and the product too. I mean, I'm a product first person. Like, I don't care how cool you are. If your stuff's not good, I'm not
Right.
using it. No, because this is our reputation
Yeah.
that's on the line. Like, if we put something in a machine, we have to be willing to stand behind it and warranty it and everything else. So it's like, first and foremost, the quality has to be there. But like, I love the 620 digital. Like, it's for the money. I mean, performance wise, it's right there with Noctua coolers that are more expensive.
Yeah.
And the deep cool stuff, candidly, in my opinion, I mean, it performs right there with some more expensive stuff, and in my opinion, looks better with the digital, on the digital side anyway. I would not, if I were building something for myself, I don't think I would choose. I don't think I would choose an AK620 over an Noctua, the NHD15S.
Yeah.
I think I would do the Noctua. But if we were comparing the 620 digital, I think I would take that over the Noctua because I like the digital display.
The digital
I think it makes it worth it. Like, I think having the digital display is worth the price of poker. But again, I'm a nerd for data though, so I like seeing stuff. I like to just be able to look at the thing and see the CPU temp right there.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know. I am that guy that constantly like checks his CPU temp while I'm playing games. I'm that guy. I admit it. I admit to being that guy. I've always been that guy. I like, if there's data available, I want to see it. Even if I don't know what it is. Which has been the case before. I have often looked at data not knowing what it is. And I'm man enough to admit it. I'm man enough to admit not knowing what everything I look at is. And then I'll Google it. I do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Google's your friend.
I look at stuff all the time and I
Google
don't know what it
stuff.
is, and then I end up Googling it. Alright, this is gonna be interesting. Let's see.
I believe you have to take off.
Oh, I see. There's a side screw too.
There's a side screw, and I think you have to take off the front panel
Learning.
on the other side.
I'm learning live, Brad. We're doing. You know what this is? This is another build.
Yep.
Where this is. I've never built a machine in this case before. So nothing like doing it live on the internet in front of everybody your first time.
I remember Jacob showed me, and I'm like, this is annoying to think.
I don't know. And I'm kind of looking at this too, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, that doesn't really need to come off.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
Like, I'm looking at this and I'm going, that doesn't really need to come off for me to build it here. I think I would want it off if I was doing an AIO over here, but looking at it and it's not. I mean, it's not really in the way. So, I don't know. Let's get this board in here and see what we're dealing with. Our client's probably watching this live going, this guy's never built in this case before. Damn it.
Bev says I'm addicted to Gamers Nexus, I can't lie.
Addicted to Gamers Nexus. Oh, yes. Steve Burke. So we tested the new Ryzen 9 7. Intel, your policies are terrible. That's a pretty good Steve Burke, isn't
That's
it?
a pretty good one.
Rate my Steve Burke, chat. We tested the new i9 14900K and decided that Intel is in fact Satan. What do you guys think? How'd I do?
Hey, Koshu. Koshu says, hey everyone, I finally put in an order with you guys. First new PC in a decade. I'm excited.
Let's go. We're excited too, man. Glad you picked us. Glad you picked us, man.
Bev says that that's decent.
It's decent.
He says I probably just got hair envy.
I have to tell you, I do actually quite enjoy Gamers Nexus. Their technical breakdowns are some of the best I've seen, honestly. Like I mean, I get that there's a significant sort of subsegment of the industry that finds him to be unbearably sanctimonious and whatever, and I get it. Like, I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
However, you cannot refute the accuracy of the reporting. Like, I don't believe I've ever seen them put out inaccurate information. I don't think I've ever seen I've been watching that channel for at least 10 years. And I don't think they've ever put out bad info. I know that, I am 1,000% certain that I mean, I know for a fact because I've never met him. I don't know him. I don't have a dog in that fight personally. But I do talk to people in the industry that have been interviewed by him and whatever. And I have been told by somebody that's dealt with him firsthand on more than one occasion that he is maniacally committed to like going out of his way to avoid even the appearance of a conflict of interest. Like, if he goes and interviews somebody or whatever, like, he will not go out for lunch with that person. He will not, like,
Oh, wow.
oh yeah, like like the person he is on the camera, that is the actual person that he is. Like, you are seeing the real him.
Yeah.
When you watch their videos. And like if he were gonna do a, like if he were gonna tour our building and do like a piece on us, and he was emailing Liz and trying to set up a time for them to come in and shoot footage and all that stuff, and we suggested like, oh, let's get together for lunch or whatever, he would say no. He would be like, no, we'll provide our own transportation and own meals, and
Yeah.
don't help us with anything, because I don't want, like, he wouldn't want to talk to you before the interview, because he would be afraid that like his impression of you would affect the coverage or whatever. Like, he's that committed to being an actual journalist.
Yeah.
Which is kind of refreshing, because I follow politics, and I wish more journalists were like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because so again, I get it that he's not everybody's bag of donuts or whatever, but you cannot fault the commitment. You cannot fault the commitment to the journalistic integrity of it or whatever.
Yeah.
I could do without the hyperbole. I think sometimes, like, I find it tedious. I will forever remember like their 11th gen Intel review, where they're like, "A waste of sand," and I'm like, okay, that's a little like, like, I don't think I would go that far. I don't think I would call the 11th gen Intel chips a waste of sand. Like, I think that an accurate headline for an 11th gen Intel review would have been like, "I wish it was."
Yeah.
Like, underwhelming, barely even better than 10th gen, probably not worth upgrading. Like, I get it. It was not a great moment for Intel, the 11th gen launch, which I fully understand and appreciate. Man, this magnetizing on the screwdriver is just not making it happen today. But I get it, I'm not somebody who enjoys the rah-rah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But fundamentally, these guys are content creators. Like, if they don't say extreme stuff, like, they don't get as many clicks. So they have to, kind of embellish for effect, or whatever you want to call it, which I don't like, because I think that, so I'm not using the drill on this screw because I don't want to scratch that hole with this drill. So, I don't know. Like, I get it that they kind of embellish for effect, or whatever you want to call it, because that's how they make money.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they make a living. Like, people got to click on their stuff and watch their videos, or they don't make any money. Which I gotta believe is a scary position to be in, because it seems a lot like the position that I'm in, where if, like, people just don't buy computers, I don't eat. And that's a scary position to be in.
Yeah.
Because I come to work every day, and I'm relying on, like, people buying stuff from our company in order for me to put food on my table. Like, that's a very real, it's not an imaginary concept for me. This is a very real thing that, if people don't, buy stuff, I'm in trouble. We don't sell any machines, I'm in trouble, man. And it wouldn't take a long time of slow sales for me to be hurting pretty bad, because, I don't really pay myself a lot of money here. Because this is very much a labor of love, man. Brad can attest to the fact that no one that works here is overpaid. We are all probably underpaid. But we got to be competitively priced, or we don't sell anything. I imagine being a content creator is similarly stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're not getting clicks, and you're not getting views, and you're not getting hits and stuff, like, you know, you probably, and I think that, you know, again, I don't know much about it, but I think, I mean, haven't there been people that like got demonetized, that like creators and influencers that get demonetized for like something they say, they get canceled or whatever by YouTube, or
Yeah.
you know, because they said something politically unacceptable, or you know, the cancel brigade decided to, you know, show up and whine about that person that day or whatever, and then they get their videos demonetized. Like, I don't know, man. I just think being a creator would be a super stressful way to make a living. So I feel like you would have to just consistently put out content all the time, and if you had even like a month where, you know, you didn't put out content and you lost momentum or something, like I think it would be, I don't know. It's just not,
Stressful.
that's what, I mean, it's just, you know, all of this is to say that that's just not for me, you know. Like I just, I think I'm a pass on making a living on the content creation. So I get it. Like I do understand why these guys are, you know, hyperbolic about everything, because you gotta sell.
Yeah.
You know, like we gotta sell, and I know how stressful it is when we gotta sell. So they end up in the same boat. I think I'm gonna go.
State Orange says, have you watched Buildzoid?
Buildzoid? No,
I have not.
I have not. I will tell you guys, like, where I go, because I obviously follow new product reviews and whatever very closely. You know, me and Jacob are the ones that do all of the system design here. So if we put a model together, it's because we feel super confident in the performance value and the longevity and reliability of a certain part, or we wouldn't put it in our models. And we're constantly testing stuff and evaluating stuff, and you know, reading about new product and product that's coming out, and you know, so I am a maniacal consumer of, you know, reviews and information. But I go to a relatively small number of sites. You know, I like Igor's Lab is one that I go to. You know, so Igor's Lab is the big one for me. I think that's probably like the most cutting edge information I get from Igor's Lab.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Anantech is another one. It's where I'm like, if we're looking at a power supply and deciding like, do we want to buy a bunch of these and make these, you know, part of our lineup and stuff like that, if I can find a breakdown video on Anantech of a power supply, that to me is like the gospel of, you know, whether that power supply is good or not. I would put more stock in like a teardown Anantech on a power supply than probably any other source. But yeah, there's just, you know, it's a lot of work. You know, I mean, it's fun because I do, you know, I do enjoy reading about all this stuff, and you know, I mean, obviously I could do literally anything else for a living, and I choose to do this. Sometimes I question that life choice, but I'd say frequently I question that life choice, honestly. But not, you know, not due to lack of enjoyment. It's just, you know, this is a very being a small business owner is a super stressful way to make a living, dude. It just is. This shit ain't for everybody. I gotta tell you. Brad's been here for a few years. He can probably attest to the.
My dad was a small business owner for 20 years.
Brad could probably provide some attestation to Donkey Kong levels of stress of being a small business person. It's just not. It's just a stressful way to make a living because you're never, you know, you're literally never safe. Like you're
Yeah.
never safe. You're never secure. There is no such thing as like, you're on easy street or good to go forever. I mean, if you can grow your business to like a medium-sized business, then yeah, there's I think significant security there, but and that's a big ask, I mean, because to really be like a medium-sized business, I mean, I know guys that own businesses that are, you know, 9 figures in revenue that are still small business. I mean, bigger small businesses, obviously, but even 100 million in revenue, like in certain industries, that's not a lot for annual revenue. And when you're dealing with like huge revenue numbers like that, you're often dealing with really small actual margins. Like that's how our industry is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very capital intensive industry where overwhelming majority of our operating costs are just purchasing components. I mean, that's 85% plus of our total operating budget is buying components. So it's like, you're never safe, man. You can never get comfortable as a small business owner, which is stressful, but it's also good because you never can turn it off. Like you always got to be on your game.
Yep.
Otherwise you're screwed because it takes all of 2 seconds for the people
to go sideways.
That's what I'm saying. Like, but I mean, people think that like, oh, consumers are so stupid, like, because culturally we like memes and thick and fart jokes and
Yeah.
whatever. But dude, money is smart. Money is smart, and if your product is not value in the marketplace, it ain't gonna sell. Like, there is no if you build it, they will come is for the movies, dude. That ain't real.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not providing actual good value to the marketplace, see you later. It'll take you all of 2 months to be out of business.
Yep.
So you can never. There is no coasting. There is no coasting. You got to be on it, and you got to be on it all the time. I should show you guys what I'm doing here. This is an underrated move that I'm pulling right now. So what I'm doing here is I'm cable combing the two 4+4 CPU cable extensions together. So I'm cable combing these into like one unit with these 4+4 combs. This is an underrated move that I've seen. I've been doing this for years and years and years, but this is an underrated, underappreciated move to make your cabling stand out in a good way. This is something, I'm not going to say like I invented this or whatever, because I'm sure somebody did it before me, but I've been doing this for a long time. But now, look how nice that is. I'm gonna turn that around so you guys can see it. Look how nice that is. Do you guys like that? Doesn't that look nice?
Yeah, it does look nice.
I mean, doesn't that just look super clean? And it's not, it's not hard to do. You gotta have these like 4+4 combs. But I mean, look how clean that is. That's, that's the details, man.
Yep.
That's the details. That's the stuff I care about, that a mass market system builder doesn't care about. Because at a mass market system builder, you're just getting stock cables. You're not even getting sleeved extensions on everything. You're just getting, most places you're not going to get a builder that's going to care about where the cables get routed and whatever, because they're just trying to get it done, get out the door,
Yep.
on to the next one. But we don't rush it here, ladies and gentlemen. I want it to look good. I want to be proud of the stuff that leaves here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it's gonna leave this shop, I want it to look good. I want people to look at it and be like, when it's sitting at your house on your desk, and your friend comes over, I want them to look at your machine and be like, damn, that looks clean as shit. Where'd you get that? And I want you to be like, Alexander PCs, bro. Best in the game. Best in the business.
In the game.
That's what we need.
XBev says, brothers, I'm so excited to get this beast.
Let's do it.
It'll look nice on your desk, man.
It's the idea. If you're gonna do it, you may as well do it right. If you're gonna bother to do it, may as well do it correctly. May as well pay attention. May as well give a shit. So I'm gonna do. All right, now ended up. We do so anytime we do a graphics card here in our shop, anytime there's a graphics card that is 3 fans, so 2 fans, 3 fans, any 3-fan width graphics card gets a GPU support bracket. It's just automatic. We don't charge extra for it. It's automatic. It's part of the process because it's the correct way to do it, kids. It also dramatically reduces the chance that your graphics card is going to get screwed up in shipping. Because when you ship these things, they're going to drop it. You just know they are. You know they're going to drop it. So you got to pack it like they're going to be. You got to just plan. You got to just plan for them to handle it poorly. They're gonna handle it like they're your ex. They're not gonna care. They're gonna be like, get this guy and drop his stuff. That's why they call it FedEx. Because they're gonna treat your package like they're your ex. But they call it FedEx. They're gonna either treat it like they're a Fed or like they're your ex. Either way, you can rest assured. Either way, Brad, you can rest assured that your machine will be ill-treated en route. They're either going to treat you like a Fed or like your ex. I say that and people laugh. Mostly because it's funny. But also because it's true. Because you know they're going to be giving you that Rough Rider treatment. For sure. Alright.
They drove a forklift through one package years
They
ago.
did. You remember that? We had that green water-cooled machine and they put the forklift skids right through the side of that thing. Oh, it was so sad. What a sad day. And then I remember filling out the damage claim on that too. And they're like, can you describe the incident? And I'm like, yeah, you crashed a forklift through the side of it. They're like, hilariously, because they always reject your claim at first because they figure that if they reject it, you'll just be like, and quit.
Yeah.
So they almost always reject our claims at first, because they say, well, you packed it wrong, or like, the box that you put it in was not rated for the weight of the machine inside the box, and we're gonna need a picture of the box maker's mark and show that it was rated for all the so at this point we've played all their stupid games and we know all the ways that they try to screw you out of paying your claim and whatever. But I remember that is the one claim that we've ever made with FedEx where they were just like, yeah, that's totally on us. Like, what can you say? Like, you
Yeah.
literally drove a forklift through the side of the machine, bro. Like, I mean, sorry.
Was it rated for forklifts?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a forklift. You know, your box was not forklift safe. I don't know. That was the one claim that I mean, they automatically approve our smaller claims. You know, where like people get a dented panel and it's like a $20 claim or something. They don't even. Most of the time, honestly, we just pay those out of our pocket. We only get maybe one or two of those every couple months. Those are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Because usually if the machine is damaged, like, it's like damaged. Usually if it's damaged, it is damaged. Because usually if it's damaged, it's because somebody at FedEx is having a bad day. And they drop that thing 6 foot off the back of a semi. Woo! And you can tell because the whole case is like blown out and exploded. But I will say it's very rare. Is we only get, I mean, our damage ratio in shipping is less than 1%, way less than 1%. I bet it's like half of 1%.
Yeah.
So as I'm sitting here like talking mad shit about FedEx, don't panic if you are buying a computer from us, because the odds are it's going to get there perfectly safe and sound, like overwhelming odds. And even if it doesn't, that's why we insure it for you. So that, you know, I never understood that. Because I know shipping insurance is optional a lot of places.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if you order a machine from company X and say you're spending like a couple grand for a nice PC, you know, like getting a Ryzen 7 and a 4070 Ti Super or something like that, and then, you know, say they ship it with the postal service or UPS or something, and then, dude, they just, I mean, say that thing shows up on your porch and it's just kablooey, and you don't have shipping insurance. Like, are you just out?
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
Yeah.
what? I mean, I would be curious to know, like, cause is there anyone in chat that's like had that experience? I'd be curious to know, like, are you literally just, I mean, you call the system builder and they're just like, too bad you didn't pay the extra $20 for insurance. Like, are you just screwed? How's that work?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not asking that rhetorically. I genuinely don't know. Because we've always, I mean, as long as we've been in business, we've always insured everything. And it's always just been built in.
Yeah.
I've never done it different.
Coachy says I'm feeling more and more confident in picking you guys.
Appreciate that. I just think I would be like, you know, I mean, I don't know, like maybe they cover it internally or something like that sometimes, or on a case by case basis or something.
Yeah.
But like, I just would be, because we've had a couple. I mean, look, stuff does get damaged sometimes. I mean, we ship hundreds and not thousands, but we ship hundreds and hundreds of PCs a month, and we get usually one. You know, I bet you we get maybe one machine a month that's like damaged.
Yeah.
So our damage ratio, Liz would probably know offhand, but I'm guessing our damage ratio is roughly half of 1%. Might even be less than that. But I mean, we also pack them crazy good, and we've gotten way better over the years at packing them too. You know, we're way better at packing these things than we used to be when I first started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you do something for thousands and thousands of times. Hopefully you get good at it. Hopefully you get better at it if you're paying attention, you know, like hopefully you're evaluating your processes and like, you know, learning,
Yeah.
you know, like, wow, we could zig instead of zag here or whatever. Like, you know, that's support brackets. I mean, putting a support bracket in there, dude, that's a game changer for shipping.
Yep.
Having that, you know, literal shelf basically that it's sitting on, because when they drop that thing, all of that kinetic energy is going straight down.
Yep.
So if you got a shelf underneath there holding it up, that's, I mean, putting the support brackets on every single 3-fan GPU is probably the single biggest improvement we made to shipping,
Yep.
which is very counterintuitive. Plus, it looks better because your shit doesn't sag.
Right.
But I mean, and ironically, we started doing it because we didn't want stuff to sag and look janky. Like, we didn't do it because we thought it would be better for shipping.
Yeah.
We actually did it for the aesthetics, and then realized after the fact, like, wow, this is actually having a dramatically positive impact on shipping. We're definitely going to keep doing this forever. Like, you know, that would mean that was one of those things, like an accidental win-win.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to say like totally planned that shit, but no, you know, I mean, totally did plan it, but because I wanted the machines to look awesome, I wasn't even thinking about the ramifications for shipping when we started doing that. And we've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least for a year and a half.
No, way more than that.
Yeah?
Yeah, we've been doing that like 3 years now. Because the last time I ordered GPU support brackets, I think we ordered like 1,200 of them. I'm sure there's other places that do it,
Yeah.
but we're the only ones I know for sure that do it on every single 3-fan GPU. Again, I'm sure there's other places that do it, but I don't know offhand who they are. But we've gotten much better at shipping over the years for sure. When I first started, man, like, God, I look back at like all the machines we shipped in like the first, when it was like just me and Jacob.
Yeah.
I'm honestly shocked that like as many of our machines made it safely as did. Like, I mean, for real, because we had no idea what we were doing, bro. Like, I remember, shout out like Jay's 2 cents for actually making a video on how to properly package a PC. Years too late for me. I had already figured it out by the time he made the video. But we do occasionally get PCs that come back for like upgrades or repairs or whatever, and we will email a customer a link to that video. Like, you know, pack it as closely as you can to the way we originally packaged it. And here's a video. We have a video too.
Yeah. Yep.
On how we pack. Because, yeah, we invest significant amount of money in packing. Like, I doubt there's anybody else out there that spends as much per unit on packaging as we do. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if there was. Everything is double boxed. Everything gets expandable foam. Everything gets bubble wrap. Everything gets the custom molded foam. Like, we are very committed to properly packing your machines. How did I do that? Why was I thinking there was... Oh, because the Evo RGB, there's 2 fans
Yeah.
there. God, look at me, just on autopilot like a moron. That is 100% due to just me being on autopilot, not paying attention. Because I'm yapping.
Recording how you pack if someone needs to send theirs in for upgrades. Genius. Yeah, if you can, try to keep the original packaging.
Yes, keep your original packaging material for real. Just stick it in a closet. Don't throw it out. Do not throw it out. Keep it, because if it ever has to come back for an upgrade, for a repair, I mean, look, CPUs, they don't usually fail, but they can. I mean, you know, we ship thousands, I mean, we ship hundreds and hundreds of machines every month. We ship thousands and thousands of machines every year. They do occasionally come back. And if you have the original, I mean, we do everything we can to make sure that as few come back as is humanly possible, which is why we beat the hell out of them on the test bench before we even send them to you. Because I would way rather them fail on my workbench than your desk. That makes my life and your life better. Because if something goes wrong, like we want it to go wrong while it's still here,
Yep.
and we can just fix it. Because we don't want you to have to send it back. Because when you have to send it back, it sucks. And I mean, it genuinely sucks. Like, it's a shitty customer experience first and foremost. Like, we don't want stuff to come back. It's just, you know, it's better if it goes to the client and then we never see it again. Like, that's the idea.
Yep.
Is get it to the customer, never have it come back. Like, that's the goal. And that's usually the result in the overwhelming majority of cases. But it does happen. But I will say we get a lot more of them that fail on the test bench than they do on the customer's desk. Because we do bad things to them.
XBev says there's so many horror stories, but I've had a case shatter one time, and UPS made it right. That's expanding foam is legit too. I needed that when I raced bicycles. When you raced bicycles?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. When I was in the Army and we would drop the motorcycles out of like the C-130s and and the RSOBs and stuff, we'd literally like crate these things and drop them on parachutes. And it was like, there's like a whole art to it.
Interesting. Yeah.
A whole art to like dropping vehicles out of airplanes and having them land safely.
That's kind of important, I would think.
Yeah, but they literally pack these things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, there's like dirt bikes, and there's like, you know, like corrugated cardboard like shoved in between stuff, and it's wild. I bet you could find a Google image of like a, you know, like a, yeah, on a like a sling-loaded vehicle or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have that's an entire job. The Army is like a parachute rigger.
Yeah. It's a theater base.
Where they rig not only parachutes for people but for like vehicles and stuff.
Oh.
And there's a whole they go to I think at air assault school you learn how to like sling load stuff on Black Hawk helicopters. I never went to air assault school, but there's a whole like it's wild. It's a very specialized thing. Can happily say never had a parachute failure. So had a malfunction, but never an out and out failure. Never an out and out failure. And it was not you did get injured on a parachute jump. But it was not the parachute's fault at all. But I can say I was always had my canopy open. Bonus. Bonus. Always had my canopy open up.
Do you know anybody that ever had a failure from a parachute?
I don't know anybody that had an out and out like I'm sure I know people that it's happened to, and I just don't know that it happened to them.
Yeah.
Because it's not like everybody I ever knew that jumped, I was there for every single jump they ever made or whatever. So I'm sure I know somebody, probably, like just statistically, the odds are that I know somebody that's had that happen to them, but I've never seen it personally. I've never personally seen somebody's chute just not open. I've seen a ton of people freak out and prematurely deploy their reserves. I've seen that a lot. I've seen that many times.
Yeah.
Especially on like helo blasts, which is where you're jumping out of a helicopter because it's a longer static line, so your chute actually opens more quickly from a fixed wing aircraft than it does from a rotary wing aircraft, because you don't want your static lines to get sucked up into the rotors. So it's a much longer static line, and so there is like a delay for your chute to pop from what you're like used to. We used to do rotary wing bilat every year, like when we were doing, UH-64 jumps. Like every year, people would pop everywhere. So they didn't need to.
Can that be dangerous too?
It's not great, because then you kind of like oscillate, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I mean, it's like certainly better than like not having anything, but
yeah,
I don't know. Parachuting in general, especially military parachuting, is just not. It's I mean, it's insanely dangerous because it's not like, you see the guy like in the Red Bull parachute that like, does all the cool stuff and he's just like zooming around with total control over where he's going and everything. It ain't like that. It's not like that. Nope. That ain't it. You got these guys with these big rectangle or, chutes with like, they can just kind of zoom around where they want to go, and then they like flare real hard at the end and then land all soft or whatever. It's not like that at all. That's not how it happens. It's not how it happens. Well, because you have a different objective. Like your idea, if you're parachuting into a, combat area, they want to get you down. You get shot out of the sky. So you want to get to the ground as quickly as you can without dying from the fall.
Yeah.
So the military parachutes are designed to, basically get you down as quick as they can without killing you. So you spend an entire, I don't know how it is now, but, when I went to airborne school, we spent basically the entire first week of airborne school doing what's called a PLF, or a parachute landing fall, which is where you basically learn to fall. Like you learn to, you learn to be a human lawn dart. Like, and you're supposed to keep your feet and knees together and point your toes, and then you want to hit the ground and kind of, roll so you spread out the impact or whatever.
Yeah.
You wear ankle braces when you jump and stuff, but you want to do like feet, knees, hip, kind of thing. And what you don't want to do is like feet, ass, head.
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's been 20 odd years since I've done it. So I never, to be honest with you, never particularly cared for the experience. It wasn't like, I mean, the idea of it was a lot cooler than the reality of it in my experience. There are guys that, fall in love with it and end up jumping recreationally and whatever. Nah. I have jumped recreationally also, but not in a long time. I did, the military thing, man, it was cool. Wouldn't trade it for anything. Also would never do it again. No interest in going back. No interest in going back, man. Glad I did it. Wouldn't trade the experiences for the world. Still, met tons of really great people, some of whom I still talk to now. I mean, to this day, my best friend is a dude that I lived with in the Army for a while. And was just, actually, he just bought a PC from us not that long ago, and I went out to visit so I could deliver it in person. So that was cool. I mean, some lifelong friends,
Mm-hmm.
and some cool experiences and some not so cool experiences. Definitely, it's just part of who I am. I'm glad I did it. Wouldn't trade the experience for the world. Would not want to do it again. I'm just too old now, man. Like, I'm just too old for that shit. Kids, I'm not trying to jump out of airplanes and carry heavy shit. Not for me, man. I'm 43 years old. I'm out on that. I'm out on the tough guy. Out on the tough guy stuff, man. Haven't shot a gun in years. Don't care to do it, honestly. Nothing against it, just not my hobby.
Expensive hobby too.
I'd rather play video games, man.
Yep.
I mean, I just would. Like, I mean, also an expensive hobby, but you know, I'd rather play games on PC, dude, than you know, shoot guns and shit. I mean, nothing against it. Like, if that's your jam, cool. You know, I used to be pretty good at that stuff, but not.
XBev says it's got to be exhilarating, yeah. Jumping out of planes and stuff.
Yeah, sure. It's you know, it's a rush for sure. What's wild is how quiet it is.
Oh.
That's what's like, you know, you get about, you know, you don't really get free fall on a military jump.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like one of those crazy Halo jumper guys, then yeah, but I never did that. I never did.
What was like the height?
We usually jumped at like 1,200 to 1,300 feet, sometimes
okay.
a little lower. Yeah, these are not high, you know, dude, we're not, I mean, we had those guys that were Halo guys that, you know, jumped out at 30,000 feet with oxygen tanks and shit.
Yeah.
That was never me. I never did that. There's a whole, you know, high altitude, low opening, and then they have high altitude, high opening, which I always thought was cool just because it was hey-ho. They had Halo and hey-ho. And, you know, if you were doing a high altitude, high opening, you could drift, you know, literally miles, like, into an objective area or whatever.
Mm.
I never did any of that. I only ever did static line jumps in the Army. So you don't even open your own, you know, you don't open your own chute or anything.
Yeah.
You're on a static line with like a pack tray and you jump out and that thing pulls your chute open for you as you go out the door. But it was always like lower altitude stuff, so you didn't get a lot of, you know, wasn't a long ride down.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, you jump out and, you know, it is a cool, like, view, and you can kind of hear the plane, like, you know, like off into the distance. But the planes are made to be quiet. Like, they, you know, they do some kind of stuff because obviously you're not trying to, like, announce your presence.
Yeah.
And, you know, so they have some way of, like, again, I'm ignorant as to all the details or whatever, but they modify these military aircraft in a way so that they're not as loud as like a regular, you know, even the prop planes, like the C-130s and stuff. Like, you know, if you jump out of a C-130, you're not hearing much. And then, you know, as you're drifting down, man, it is silent because nobody's making any noise. And especially if it's a night jump, like, it's very easy to get like disoriented and you know, it's very quiet, so you're not getting any sensory input from like volume anywhere. So it is a weird, it is definitely a weird thing. For me it was anyway. I mean, I you know, it was cool and kind of different. I never fell in love with jumping, definitely not. I mean, I know guys that did. You know, my buddy Danny Keaston went on to actually be at Halo School and was an instructor at the Army Halo School and stuff. Like, you know, and thousands of free fall jumps and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he even does it like recreationally. Like, I mean, really fell in love with it. And you know, now like skydives is a sport and stuff like that. But I'm not. I guess my balls were just never that big.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, like it was. I mean, it was something, but you know, it was just something I did. It wasn't something that I got hooked on or whatever.
Yeah.
There's dudes that did get hooked on it for sure, but in the immortal words of Shaggy, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I don't know. Yeah, fucking AMA today. Yeah, ask me anything. Why not? Doing the ask me anything today, chat. But no, I have a very unimpressive military record. Guaranteed. Guaranteed my military record. If you read my DD 214, you'd be like, yeah, whatever. Right. You know, guy did a couple of classes. Got a couple low level awards. Good day, sir. No, there's nothing impressive is coming out of my military resume. Nothing.
XBev asks, would it void warranty if I were to put a tiny ceramic beaver figurine on top of the GPU?
No.
Asking for a friend.
No. No. Of course not.
My last name isn't Beaver already.
Listen. I encourage all things beaver. All beaver related endeavors are encouraged. Nothing like a little beaver. Remember that Primus song? Isn't there a Primus song about a beaver? I think, you know, Primus. They do the intro for South Park. You know.
Oh, that's them?
That's
Okay.
Primus. Yeah, it's the band Primus. I believe they had a song called Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
Yep, did.
Dating myself here. That's going back. Got to go back in the archives. Big Brown Beaver song by Primus.
95.
95. Oof. Oof. 90s were such a great time for music, dude. I was texting with Deb yesterday. She was making fun of me for listening to like 80s rock. Cause I always listen to 80s rock.
Yeah.
Because 80s rock is the shit. And, you know, she's younger than me, so she's giving me shit about listening to old guy music.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's classic rock. I'm like, you. I'm like, you shut up. I'm like, we do not refer to Def Leppard as classic rock, okay? Def Leppard is just rock. It's probably on every classic rock channel everywhere. It probably has been for like 20 years.
They're playing 2000 songs on classic.
Oh my god.
I know.
That's just mean. That's just mean spirited, dude. Really?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, if they start playing Foo Fighters on like classic rock channels, then
I heard
damn.
Linkin Park on one. I'm like,
Linkin
what the
Park
fuck?
is classic rock
Yeah.
now? Oh.
Like, shit, I'm
Dude.
not that old.
Yeah, seriously, are we really? We are middle aged now, honestly. I mean, I'm 43, so, and I'm pretty sure the average life expectancy for a garden variety cracker on American soil is less than 86.
Yeah.
So statistically, I'm probably on the back nine of life here, Brad.
I think it's like 78 or something.
Dude, shut up. Ugh. Ah, ah, ah. That means I'm 43 with a probable 35 left. Man. Feel like I'm on the back nine of life, dude.
Yep.
I don't feel like I can see the clubhouse yet, though. I don't feel like I can see the... I don't want to. I don't want to. Maybe I'll age more gracefully as I get older, but I'm resisting. Refuse to. That's part of the reason I enjoy this, because I like, you know, messing with PCs and stuff, and I've been doing it for 25 years now. Most of my life, you know.
Yep.
It's like, and I like games. Feel like, you know, my wife tells me that by doing this for a living, I've managed to find a way to be a child forever. Which I gotta tell you is a huge part of the appeal of this for me. I mean, honestly, like, I've had real jobs, they suck. I You know, and I had real jobs where I made like way more money than what I make now. Way more. Not even close. Like multiples of what I make now. And I would never go back. Because this is fun. And this is rad. And those jobs suck. like, like those jobs, I mean, this is work, but it's like work that I don't leave at the end of the day, like, you know. You know, it's hang me by my necktie. I don't feel like that. And it's mostly like in the morning though. You know? Like I used to wake up on like a Monday morning and be like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I mean that was legit. Like my Monday morning was like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this again. Like I mean, you know, I mean, I got kids, so it's like you do what you got to do. But I mean, I remember waking up on a Monday morning and being like, God, not wanting, you know, like not looking forward to the week ahead or whatever. And this is work, but it's like, you know, it's tolerable work.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you know, they don't call it going to fun. But as far as work goes, like this is pretty, you know, this is the right amount of worky for me. You know, like we still work here. We got stuff to do. I put in a lot of hours, you know, a lot of hours. I put in probably more hours now than I ever did at any of my other jobs and make less money for it, honestly. But I also don't want to commit Harry Carey at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's also not soul sucking and terrible. So yeah, I don't know. I'm grateful to do this, bro. I really am. Like, I mean, I know I like to laugh and have a good time and talk shit and whatever, but genuinely grateful that I get to do this for a living because, like, there's dudes out there like, you know, working in oil fields and shit. Like, I mean, that's you. Respect. It's, no hate, because I definitely wouldn't want it to be me. Like, because I've done jobs like that, dude. I was in the army. You know, being in the army was hard. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I'm sure there are people that have had different experiences in the military than what I've had, and you know, everybody's mileage may vary, but man, I'm telling you what, I spent a few years in 3rd Ranger Battalion in the Army, and I worked like a freaking dog every day just to be very average at my job. Like, I mean, literally very average, definitely not even good at my job relative to a lot of my peers that were way better at being an Army Ranger than I was. And I remember working very hard every day just to like basically not get kicked out for sucking so bad. Like, I mean, you know, like I was definitely, again, nobody is, you know, no one would ever read my service record and be like, no. They'd be like, all right, this guy was in a pretty good unit. Like, probably sucked at it. Like, there were guys way better than me at what we were doing. That is for sure. That's a fact. I had to work very hard every day just to be very average at my job. And I don't miss it. I'm glad I did it. You know, I am glad I did it because the skill set of like being disciplined and, you know, not negotiating with yourself about doing the shit that you know you have to do. Like, you just make yourself do it. And you learn to make yourself do it. And I needed that discipline in my life at that age, man. I really did. I think had I not think had I not gone into the military, my life would have gone very differently and not in a good way. Like, I think that had I not learned to be disciplined and stuff like that. And I think had I not put myself in a position where I had to be, because like there was nowhere to hide, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you couldn't like get up in the morning and be like, I'm just gonna call off today. Like, no, that was not a thing, you know? Like, if we were running, you know, if we were ruck marching 15 miles this morning, that's what we were doing. It didn't matter if you wanted to do it. You had to strap up and walk. Like, it is what it is. There was no votes. There was no like, I don't really want to do this. I'm just gonna go home. like there was, you couldn't do that. It wasn't an option. And I personally, just because of how I am, benefited from that. Like, you know, not having anywhere to, you know, 'cause I was a smart kid, man. Like you know, growing up in school and stuff, like I weaseled my way out of a lot of shit. You know, like I did, weaseled my way out of a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no weaseling in 3rd Ranger Battalion. And you could try, but it would have been a definite waste of time. You'd have got your ass beat for it. But yeah, I mean, I've had those jobs where I had to work very hard just to be not terrible. So if you're waking up every day and going to work in the oil fields or something, dude, fucking hell yeah, you get it. Get it.
XBev is asking, where's the 8th fan going?
The 8th fan going. Where is the 8th fan going, Brad?
I do not know.
Where's the 8th fan going? There should be 7 fans, shouldn't there? No inspection here. It says SL Infinity X8. I wonder why it says X8. Because there's no... That's probably a typo.
Can you... Is this the double back one? The 2 exhausts?
You can do a push-pull on this. I wanted to say there's a... But there's not room for 2 120 fans back here. Like, is there? I don't think so. Am I doing... I think there is room for 2. I think it's supposed to go back here. Isn't it? I feel like it is, Brad.
It might.
I feel like it has to. Where else is it going to go? Oh, I see what it does. Hold on. It is double. I was right. Hooking them together.
Oh.
I was right. See, I shouldn't have doubted myself. I doubted me.
I think it goes with 2 exhausts in the back.
Yeah, this is 2 exhausts. You're right. I knew I had hooked those together for a reason. I knew I wasn't stupid. Well, I am stupid, but I knew I did that on purpose. I knew I had done that for a reason. No, that doesn't fit. What am I doing wrong here, Bradsky? Is there some, like... This is what happens when I do live builds. In cases I've never built in before.
2 exhausts. And... go to back.
Alright, you Google that. I know there's a way to do that. I wonder if you take this tray out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alright.
I wonder if you take this tray out and put some accessory in or something. Google that for me. I'm learning.
Oh, is this the one where you have to shift the motherboard down?
Do I have to shift the board down? I might have to shift the board down.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I gotta shift the whole board down?
Yeah.
Man.
Because there's that second row of gaskets that you can...
Is that what I gotta do?
Yeah.
So I gotta shift the whole board down. Look at me, chat. Messing up the whole build. Messing up the whole build, man.
Hey, at least we got it now.
Well, I'm glad he asked because definitely the build has 8 fans. All right, let me get this tray back in here before I do anything else. I'm glad he said something.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
That's what I get for not building in this case until I go live. Look at me learning. I'm learning. I'm learning with you guys, chat. Alright, so you gotta move the whole board down. How does that work? Alright, so this spacer is gonna come out of the bottom. Right?
Yeah.
So this spacer has to come out the bottom. Boom. Then what happens? Then what happens, Brad?
See if I can pull up a guide here real quick.
Then this. Okay, hold up for a second. I got this. So this thing comes out. Oh yeah, you gotta shift. Okay, so this whole thing shifts down. I see what's going on here.
Okay, you got it.
I got it. That's actually super clever. I do have to take the whole board out though. Look at me. Look at me screwing up a whole build on live stream. Rather do it right though. I'm not mad about it. I mean, I'm annoyed with myself that I didn't do it right from the beginning, but not mad about it. Now I get, what time is it?
It is 12:50.
12:50. Look at that. I don't want to end up rushing through this either. I got a hard break at 1:30. Alright. Well, I'm glad we didn't get all the way done.
Yeah.
Who asked that question?
XBev.
XBev.
He's the PC owner.
Oh, alright, cool. Well, 1, thanks for asking. 2, wish you'd asked that shit 10 minutes earlier. Or 20 minutes earlier. I had those 2 fans together. At
Yeah,
the
you
beginning.
did.
I did. See, I should have trusted my instincts, man. And I was thinking, like, but then I was like, no, that's got to be the Evo case where you do the double. But no, it is this case. I'm thinking, man. Sorry. Jacob normally does these, and I normally don't. I don't really build too many PCs anymore. But Jacob's on vacation. You guys are stuck with me today. Alright, now. This last guy. I don't want to scratch the... I'm always afraid I'm going to scratch this thing when they do the one in the middle, you know? I'm always afraid if I try to use the drill, I'm going to scratch it.
XBev says, ha ha ha, my bad. You were entertaining me with the military story.
The military stories, yeah. I got lots of stupid army stories. Everybody that works here has probably heard them too many times. Stick on my shit. Alright, now. Get out of there, you. There we go. Whoops. Well, I'm glad you said something. Because you don't want to build your stuff the wrong way. And now I'll know.
Yep.
For when I do the next one. Because I got to be in here tomorrow. And one of the builds in my queue is an O11 Vision.
Ah. I think we have another stream one.
We have another stream one?
That's another Vision.
Yeah. So we'll learn. Man, look at that. I did this perfect bend. I gotta take it all out. Thanks a lot. honestly glad that we said something here. All right, Neil. Dude, I wondered. You know, sitting here going. This is why you know that I'm like. Robotech can never do this shit. You know? If you're gonna fail, you may as well do it miserably and live.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? Like, if you're gonna screw it up, you may as well screw it up. Everybody.
XBev says, yeah, it's not your fault. Kind of weird to do an air-cooled build in this case, but I'm a weird guy.
It is actually a bit unusual to do an air cooled build in this case. That is the truth. But what was he saying? He had 3 RMAs on water cooled builds or something?
Yeah, AIOs. Yeah, he was mentioning AIOs.
What AIOs? That's
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's very crazy. I mean, you're definitely more likely to get a failure on an AIO, but 3 in a row? That just sounds... I don't know, that sounds extremely unlucky. Like, extremely unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
It could happen. I get it. Are you talking about that, like, they failed, like, within a short time period? I'm curious about that now. Inquiring minds want to know. You know? Alright, so this whole bloody thing comes down, Brad. Look at that. That's interesting. Sorry, I'm like... You know, maybe I'll just read the directions next time. Maybe. Probably not. I'm actually definitely not. Actually, definitely I won't. I'd like to say that I would, because I probably should, but I definitely won't.
That's crazy. So the whole thing just like shifts.
Yeah, you gotta take the power supply out too. I gotta get at those screws back there.
Oh.
So that's interesting. That's actually really... That's super, super intelligent design, honestly. That's really slick. I have to say, like, the more I've never built a PC in this case before. But I have to tell you, like, the more I'm sort of monkeying with this thing, the more I'm impressed by it, honestly. So this entire tray has to shift down. So let's see if I can figure it out without the directions, Brad. I don't want to read the directions. Directions are for the weak. No. Directions are for the smart. Look at that.
There we go.
So this whole thing just literally shifts down. All I had to do was just click it down from the beginning. But I didn't know. And there's no way Jacob would tell me.
Yeah, right.
No. Hell no. He loves when I mess stuff up. He does. He genuinely, like, he genuinely really truly enjoys and gets a kick out of him knowing stuff that I don't know. Dickhead. Not here to defend himself. Shouldn't talk too much shit. But I'm sure he would get a kick out of my misfortune. So then you just move this thing up. Look at that. Bam.
That's smart.
This is freaking honestly, like, that's impressively engineered, man. I gotta say. Then you just move that tray up, like, I'm honestly kind of super annoyed with myself that I didn't figure that out, like while I was doing it, because that really was very straightforward. Like that was not, it's not like I was trying to solve some codex or some
Yeah.
shit. Like, I mean, if you've built a few PCs in a few different cases, that's a that's about a 1.5 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. that's a layup right there. All right, so now watch this. Now it's gonna fit. Genius. Boom. Now it goes right in there. There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so glad you said something rather than just receive your PC with a fan short and be mad at me for the rest of your life. Rightfully so, I would add. My bad for not catching that earlier. I did have the two fans together and then I took the one off because I was like, that can't be right. That doesn't fit there. And I should have been like, no, that's supposed to fit there. Why isn't it? So I didn't ask that follow-up question, Brad. That's where I went sideways. I didn't ask the follow-up question. Why isn't it fitting? All right.
He says, I did the installs on 2 of them, the AIOs. One was probably my fault. One had a shitty HP PC. The liquid cooler was literally cooking my CPU.
Ooh.
And the one on my Intel 13700K, I can't keep temps lower than 84 when gaming.
84 is not a bad temp, really, depending on what you're doing. I mean, it's a little up there, but if you're boosting like a madman, 84 is... What kind of... You said it was a what?
It was an AIO.
No, what chip was it? He said that was 84 degrees.
13700K.
13700. 84 degrees is a perfectly safe temperature for a 13700K. Don't know if... I don't know who would have told you otherwise, or if you read something on Reddit or something like that, but 84 degrees under load, under full gaming stress is a perfectly safe temp for a 13700K. Like, perfectly safe temp. And if I unequivocally guarantee you that is a perfectly safe temperature for that chip, and if anybody told you otherwise, they have unfortunately misinformed you. Because I promise you that is, I'm not going to say it's an ideal temp, because it's a little warmer than we'd like to see, but that is a perfectly safe operating temperature that is 100% not going to damage your CPU. And it can be 84 degrees for hours.
Idle at 80 to 84.
Oh, idling at 80? Hell no, that's terrible. That's bad. Not a safe temperature. I thought you were talking about like gaming. I was like, 84 degrees on that chip, gaming is a totally acceptable temperature. It's not ideal, not great. We'd like to see it a little lower, but
I've seen 90 plus.
yeah, 90 plus is like, that's where you want to maybe ramp up your fan curve or your pump speed or something, but 84 is a totally safe operating temp for that chip. It's not an ideal temp, but it is definitely not a temp that's gonna damage your chip. If it's a 13700K, Intel damaged it for you.
Yeah.
Intel damaged those chips for you right out of the box. And I have to tell you, I have a 13900KS that was an engineering sample. Dude, I have mercilessly beat on that thing, and it's fine. And it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I have not experienced any of the issues that we've all read and heard so much about at this point. Like, and I mean, I guarantee you, I am mean to my CPU.
He says easy gamers nectar.
Yeah, I'm mean to that. I just worry about because we get people that call, and they're like, you know, oh, I need to open a support ticket because my CPU temp is, you know, 100 and whatever degrees or whatever, and then we find out that they're talking about Fahrenheit, and we're like, yeah, it's totally fine because they change it or whatever.
Yep.
And you know, these modern chips have a lot better heat tolerance than what we had back in the day too. So there's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of bad info on the internet, and it surprised no one. So it would not surprise me because we get tech support tickets regularly where people are like, you know, my CPU is crazy hot, and it's not at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we'll get somebody, because, you know, again, people just don't know like what's a good temp, what's a normal temp for their stuff, and they go on Reddit, and you know, some denizen of the internet is like, you know, your CPU should idle at 27. Like, yeah, bro, if you live in Greenland, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, me wrong, but there's a lot of bad information on the internet, man. And we get support tickets and stuff because of it, because again, it's not, you know, it is not our customer's job to know those things. It is our job. It's my job to know what's good for your CPU. It's your job to just play games on your machine and have fun. And it's my job to make sure your machine works so that you can do that. That is the goal. The goal is always, 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 always for the client to have to touch the machine and monkey with the machine as little as is possible. Because that is what you pay us for. Pay us for the warranty and the support and the work to put it together and test it and pack it and ship it and
There might be gaskets.
all of that stuff.
For those cable holes that you're putting stuff through.
Are there gaskets?
I remember I saw them on pictures and stuff before you start.
Oh, they'd be in the spot. Is it these? Might be these. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, there you go. Like that. Boom. Learning more. Gotta say, man, the more I'm messing with this case, the more I like it. It's a new one for me, but I'm impressed.
It's a cool case. I've always liked Lian Li. And
Dude, Lian Li has been, honestly, they're not a very old company. They've only been around for a few years relative to a lot of other brands.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like Deep Cool, Lian Li has been a real innovator, like for real. You know, they've come up with new stuff that people were not doing before they got on the scene, and you know, I think that's cool.
My friend always said that they're the Cadillac of cases.
Yeah, their cases are definitely not. There's no corners cut on Lian Li cases. They give you all the, you know, like those old gaskets we just put in.
Yeah.
Like they give you all the you know, the bells and whistles and whatever. It's, I mean, in my opinion, if you wanted to see, you know, how to construct a PC case correctly, Lee is you have a pretty hard, you'd have a pretty uphill argument to find a beef Lee. I've been a fan of their stuff for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really come around to Lee until the original.
Well, they built some, like, they were nice quality builds, but they looked boring. They looked like
Yeah.
boring office machines.
Well, the O11, the original O11 was really a game changer in the industry. I mean, it just changed the way that, you know, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really innovative. I mean, nothing, you know, we hadn't really seen anything like it before. And the versatility, I mean, you could water cool in it, you could, I mean, you know, even now, there's more choices than there used to be, but man, they're just, I mean, if you want to do like a full water cooled build, like with a CPU and a GPU water block, I'm talking like, you know, EK stuff and, you know, stuff, you know, like real water cooling. Are we off? Did we lose our feed? Oh, the battery died. Yeah, I'm gonna put one more cable comb on that we're covering more ground now. There's not like tons and tons of options for cases for like water cooling.
Yeah.
There's more than there used to be, but I'm gonna put one more cable comb on here now, Brad. But yeah, this is the 4+4 cable comb, dude. This is in my opinion, highly underrated move. Because this to me adds a lot to the build.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think the aesthetic of adding this. Oh, you come out of there.
Were they the first panoramic case?
I don't know if they were the first. I don't know. I mean, I think it would depend too on like, how do you define a panoramic case? Because like, I think I want to say, I don't know what came out first, the O11 Dynamic or like the Tower 900 thermal take.
Yeah.
That was not a widely used case either. Like the O11 was everywhere, dude. It was ubiquitous.
Yeah.
Like every build you saw on Instagram. And it still is kind of I would say like the main like design trend driver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The O11.
Everyone copies them.
Yeah, I mean you're still seeing the, you know, O11 copies.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're still seeing new cases come out that are just, you know, company X's take on the O11, you know. Like
Yeah.
That's very much a thing still.
Yeah, the O11 Dynamic came out, looks like 2018.
2018.
Yeah. They had the PC O11. I don't know if
I don't think I built in my first Lee case until 2019. I think that was the first time I did a Lee build, was 2019. I'm pretty sure. Man, I'm all out of order now. I'm gonna have to take these fans out of the bottom.
Oh, for real?
Well, I guess I don't have to, but I have to recable that stuff on the bottom of the board. I don't want those fans in the way.
I see.
I just can't see as well with the fans in there, and I don't want to bend a pin. I don't want to bend something.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just butchering this build. We'll get there in the end, man. We'll get there in the end. And it'll be amazing.
Looks like the Tower 100 came out in 2020.
What about the Tower 900?
Tower 900. 2016. So.
Okay, yeah. So I was gonna say, I think the Tower 900 was my first, what I would consider like a panoramic,
Yeah.
you know. Although I don't know if is that a panoramic, do you think? The Tower 900?
I could see it being called panoramic.
That was I mean, to me, that is a freaking iconic water cooling case, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the space that you have to do stuff, like to do creative stuff with your loop, like that, the Tower 900 to me is like, that is an iconic water cooling case, in my opinion. I think my best, I would say at least two of my absolute all-time best water cooling builds I've done have been in the Tower 900.
Yeah, because you did that cool. You did the Florida Gator one.
That one I think is definitely, that's a top. I think that's a top 5 build of all time for me, honestly. Man, that pin just
We
doesn't.
can call them fish tank style cases.
Is that what it was? Yeah, I mean, you could call them fish tank style, I guess. But yeah, that Florida Gators one was one of my. That was a hard build. That was really hard. That was definitely like, I went through a lot of tube when I was making that. Do we have that somewhere? Is that like on any of our? I know it used to be on Instagram.
Yeah, it's still on Instagram. Let's see.
Put that on the screen. I'd be interested to hear. I'd want to get some feedback on that. I'd like to see what people think of that.
Yeah, let's see if it might be in the gallery too.
See what y'all think of my skills on the Florida Gator build.
Gator. It's not on our gallery or Instagram.
That was one of my. I have to tell you, that was very challenging.
I know we've had a couple reels.
That was a very challenging build. One of my, I think that's one of my. That was fun too, man. Because that was like. That was one of those ones where, like, getting to see the outcome of the build was very satisfying because it was very difficult. There's a lot of bends in that, and you know, the stair step bends that are kind of like the main, you know, like focal point of where your eye goes when you first look at the build. Like, that was just, those actually weren't that crazy. I mean, there was a ton of them, so it was not easy necessarily, but there were a couple bends in that system. One of them, like at the top, as you're looking at it from the front, like the top left, like it's like a 180 that's like 2 inches apart. Like that, I mean, that had to be that was a hard bend. And then the bends that go into the CPU block, because they turned into the block so close to the block.
Yeah.
Like, those were really hard to get right. Like there were some bends in that build that were really, really hard. And I think, like, I don't know. That was one of those builds that I did where I felt like if I was one of those people that had a bigger, like, social footprint, that would have gone viral. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that was, I'll admit to being a little bit bitter that didn't get more love on social media, because it deserved it. I'm not going to say that like every build that I ever did deserved more credit, but that build definitely never got the love that it deserved.
That one is a cool build. Getting close to it, I think.
That was an older build though. That was a 2080 Ti.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was a 2080 Ti. But that build never got the hype it deserved. Never got the love that it was. It deserved more love than it got on socials. 'Cause that was a masterpiece, dude. It really was. It really was. Like I mean, I've done water loops before and then been like, you know, like where I just didn't think the design was that cool or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the customers have liked it, which is ultimately at the end of the day, like that's what matters. But you know, that was one of the few builds where like I got to the end of the build and I looked at it and I was like, that's badass. Like like that was one of the few builds where I've just kind of like looked at it and been like very satisfied with myself. You know, it doesn't happen all the time, you know?
You did that in the old shop, right?
That may have even happened in my basement.
Okay.
That's an old, that's a, for sure it's at least as old as the first building. Probably older. Probably even older than the first building. So,
One.
we're pretty much done at this point here. I've been talking all this mad shit about that build. Now I want everybody to see it. You know?
Oh, here it is. I found it.
Find it.
Yeah, he's.
Get that up on the screen, man. I want to see everybody's. I'm genuinely curious to see
Oh wait, that was a slideshow. Okay, so maybe there's.
what everybody in chat thinks of that build.
Here it is.
I think it's truly one of the coolest machines I've ever built,
Okay.
which is honestly kind of saying something because I've built a lot of machines. And I very rarely have had the level of satisfaction in seeing a machine when it's done that I had with that one. Like that machine was very much one of those few where
It's such a cool build.
I got to the end of doing that one and I think I was doing so much water cooling then too. Like I was doing so much water cooling then, man. Like I was honestly, I was way at the top of my game too when I did that build. Like because I was doing a lot of water cooling back then. Way more than I do now.
Dang, the cross in the middle is insane. This is cool.
Like that's it. Yeah, I
You
mean
got the
the
Royals too.
what?
The Trident Z Royals.
Yeah. Trident Z Royals. God almighty.
It looked cool.
They look great. They look awesome. Honestly, a terrible failure rate. Terrible failure rate. One of the highest failure rates the type of memory kit I've ever seen in 20 odd years. Amazingly good looking though, honestly.
Yeah.
I was a G-Skill guy for a long time. because they had, you know, lower CAS latencies and whatever. So I was a G Skill fan for a long time. I don't think anything except Kingston will ever touch my own systems again now. It's just too reliable.
Yeah.
It's just too idiot proof. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say like I've never seen a kid at Kingston RAM fail or whatever, but relative to how many we've had, it's been so few. Like, I mean, stats are unbelievable on Kingston. I'd be honestly curious to know like what their QC process is that's different and stuff, because they are Kingston memory. I have had so few problems. And memory is like, I mean, memory is usually like the component that's most likely to fail.
Yep.
I mean, really, it is. Like, memory is way, way the most common failure point in a build. It's not even close.
XBev says I need idiot proof.
Idiot proof is Kingston, baby. G Skill's very good. I've probably built in my own systems. I've probably had more kits of G Skill than any other.
I've always used G Skill.
I for sure. I mean, now that I'm thinking of it, I'm 100% positive that I've had way more kits of G Skill in my own machines than anything else. But I mean I won't use anything other than Kingston anymore. And that's, I just like their. Although, you know what? I would consider using G Skill if I was on an AMD platform. I might, because G Skill does give you lower CAS latency on the Expo kits than Kingston does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I might consider going to G Skill for an AMD platform for the lower CAS latency. Although, you know what we're getting soon, Brad? Soon, we are making another enhancement to our Kingston memory in our model lineup because the Kingston Fury Beast Expo stuff is the new stuff is going to be CL30.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So our next batch of incoming memory that I just ordered the other day, it's not here yet, will be the Fury Beast DDR5 6000 CL30.
Ooh.
So it'll be an even lower latency than stuff we're already getting.
XBev says I was very excited to see the carry Kingston, especially for my OCD of matching SSD and RAM. Those G Skill Royal sticks looked so good for real.
The G Skill stuff, dude, like, I mean, I have had more G Skill stuff than any other stuff in my systems, and I have replaced more G Skill stuff than any other stuff. But that's probably as much a function of me being miserable to my stuff than it is. It's probably more of a reflection on me than it is G Skill, to be honest with you. Because I do not treat my components kindly. I just don't. Man, I'm like spacing out today, Brad. I'm going to put the GPU in and I'm like, I didn't put the bridge in yet. I just put the posts in, but I didn't put the bridge in yet for the support bracket. Man, I'm like going, see this, I'm going all out of order because this case is new. I'm normally not like I'm normally not quite this all over the place with a build. Gotta be honest. We're getting there in the end, though.
Getting there.
We are getting there in the end, kids. We are getting this thing to where we need it to be. But I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't slightly irritated at how I'm dragging it out. I'm a little annoyed at how long it's taken me to get there, to be honest with you. I suppose that is, you know, I guess when you do it live for the first time, I'm always gonna run the risk of looking like a dumbass, I guess. You know, all the little mistakes that you make in every case when you learn it. I guess I've just decided to make all those mistakes live on the air. For this particular case.
XBev says, I've watched a few builds, man. Everything looks pro to me, but we are our own worst critic.
I'm never happy. I'm never happy, dude, with my builds. Honest to God. I am I am for sure my own worst critic when it comes to my work. I promise you, no one will ever scrutinize my work like I do. What'd you guys think of that Gators build, though? Did anybody from chat actually like that?
Yeah, XBev was commenting on it.
I gotta
So
tell
many
you.
bends.
I gotta tell you, that was like, that was one of my more challenging builds, for sure. That build, I'm telling you, I wish, that was one of the few things, because I do it because I love it, dude. I don't really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I do it because I love doing it, and I don't, you know, not somebody that typically really gives a shit if, like, it gets liked a lot on social media or what. I'm too old. Like, I'm just not from the, I'm just not from the social media generation. But I was like, that build was one of the few I've ever done where I was like, man, I wish I had, you know, 1 million Instagram followers so everybody could see this shit because it's awesome. Like, and I don't normally feel that way. I normally just, you know, I do the work for myself and for the customer, and you know, if other people see it and like it, like, cool, bro, I hope you see it and I hope you like it. But you know, it's really for the client.
Yeah.
And for us, you know, like, I'm not a big look at me kind of person or whatever when it comes to my work, but that was one of the few where I was like, damn, I wish more people would have seen that, because it was worthy. It was worthy of being seen more than what it was. All right, what do we think of the cables in the front? Are we looking business in the front? We're not business in the back yet. Party in the back. But we should be business in the front at this point.
Looks clean.
We should be business in the front at this point, boys and girls.
I like the black with the white cables.
I like the black and white look.
Mm-hmm.
It was really in vogue for a while when everybody was doing that, like, stormtrooper look kind of thing, where they wanted white cases but black GPUs and boards and stuff. The stormtrooper look was definitely in vogue for a while during COVID, and a lot of people were doing that. But
a lot of people were doing that with their cell phones for when I was doing cell phone repair.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like, yeah, I want the black screen with the white button.
We poached Brad from a cell phone repair store.
Yep.
That's what Brad did where he worked here. He repaired cell phones.
For 6 months, and then I was an game master in an escape room for 5 years. That was fun.
That makes a lot of sense for your personality too.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
I got pretty decent at public speaking though, so which was never really something I was like super confident in.
Yeah.
But
I would see that as like a good fit for your skill set though.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you're, you know, you're enthusiastic and engaging and whatever. Brad is a philosopher at heart. He subtly manipulates the rest of us all the time.
It was fun seeing people like succeed and like have that aha moment when they finally figured out the puzzle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The aha moment counts more when it's hard.
Yeah.
Like when it's a difficult problem to solve.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a believer that like if you, I don't know. I've always been a believer that I guess like the more difficult whatever it is you're trying to do, the more satisfying it is when you get it.
Yep.
You know? That was one of the reasons I like that damn Florida Gators build so much, dude, is that like that was fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I put a lot of time into that, man. Like a lot of time into that.
Even Mova from Kit says looks fancy. This is a fancy build for
You
sure.
do fancy around here, man.
Here are the parts. And then Danny on YouTube says, can't wait for you guys to start building mine. It's a white gladiator.
White gladiator.
Okay.
Alright,
Yours
sure.
might be coming up soon, maybe.
Yeah.
So now we have another Vision build soon.
Another Vision build. And I won't botch it like I did this one. We got there in the end.
We got there.
We got there.
Took some detours, but
Took a little circuitous route to get there, but I'm gonna have to clean these cables up in the back, but I gotta say, man, I'm reasonably happy with this. I have to make sure I cable that off so it doesn't move around, because nobody is more anal retentive about the 24 pin bend than I am. But yeah, I think that's it, kids. I got a hard break here at 1:30, and it'll be 1:30, so I gotta go.
it's 135, yeah.
Yeah, I go to the doctor with the wife today. But yeah, I mean, I got some cable management to clean up in the back, but we're basically done. Yeah, we'll be back at it Monday.
Yes, sir.
I'll be on stream Monday because Jacob will still be on vacation. Jacob will be back Wednesday. And then I think it's the week after next. Jens is coming.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think it's the week after next. So a couple weeks we'll have UFC Hall of Famer Jens Pulver in studio doing a couple builds. That'll be cool. If you're the random person that gets your PC built by a UFC Hall of Famer, you'll be getting a new PC and an autograph. So yeah, we got that going. What else we got going?
We have
You got a game night going?
game night last Saturday of every month. So that is the 31st. Haven't decided which game yet, but soon. And then we'll also have a mouse giveaway for that. And then, yeah, every Monday night on our Discord, we're doing just community games.
We got what's the 7 Days to Die or something that we just
Yeah,
do?
that's the new one.
Okay.
We have our own private server now.
We got our own private server.
Yeah.
Damn. How much am I paying
So-
for that?
It's actually from one of our streamers, Cole.
Oh, right on. Okay.
So, yeah.
Even better, I'm not paying for that.
And yeah, so feel free to jump up on that. You can find all the info to join that on our Discord.
No matter how old I get, Brad, I never get tired of getting free shit.
Yep.
That is my favorite price. $3.
$3.
$3. Yeah, so that's yeah. Get up.
Cool.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed me making a mockery of this case today. We got there in the end.
He said it wouldn't have been my build if it wasn't smooth. If it was smooth.
I mean, the end result is going to be literally the same and just as good as if I had smoothly done it all correctly right from the beginning. So the end result, you're all there, man. But
He said, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. You guys are dope."
I mean,
So
I guess it's kind of instructive for people to see me struggle.
Yeah.
Don't feel. I mean, you know, if you're a DIYer, dude, don't feel bad about botching it or doing something out of order or whatever. Because, man, I've built thousands of these things and I dork it up all the time. Not on purpose, but you know, you make mistakes.
Yep.
Especially if you're working in a case you've never worked in before, live on the internet like a dumbass. Which I have a remarkable history of doing. I think like 5 of like my last 10 streams have been completely new cases. So whatever. It is. I'm not too proud to struggle. It is what it is. But yeah, we got there in the end. We clean up the cables in the back until they look like I want them to look, and then should be good to go. The only thing I'm not going to do here, because I don't like doing it on this desk, is I do have to put the little support shelf underneath the graphics card, and I don't like to do that until right before I pack it, because I just want to make sure that I'm, you know, getting that. I don't like to put this in until right before I put the foam in. So it's really the only thing that we're not doing on air or whatever that still is going to get done. But yeah, that's it. It's a little unorthodox, I think, to do an air cooler in this build, but you know, we should be all right. There's plenty of airflow for it. So I mean, we've got plenty of intake on the bottoms and blow air right up into the GPU, and then, you know, I'll be interested to see the thermals on this.
Yeah.
So should be good.
Cool.
So yeah, see you guys Monday.
Yep. See you guys Monday.
Have a good weekend.
See you guys.